Thank you for joining the last session of the day. Let's call like this. It's not similar to what we did with material ledger. This one is, let's say, I will present. First, my name is Rogério. I've been working with SAP since 2005. I'm focusing controlling. That's a controlling conference, obvious. But related to material ledger, COPA, and product costing. And the case, let's say it's two cases, customer case, what I will show today. One is related to how we can recognize cost and revenues using result analysis for a process that starts in a sales order. And also how we can recognize cost, partial sales, when you don't want to use result analysis, that you don't want to use the SAP process to do this. Some parts of the presentation, it's very technical, so like steps, things like this. But it's really, I wanted to show how we can achieve this. That you take this, oh, this is one idea that I can use to get the, let's say, the revenue in the correct place. So I will talk about how, let's say, a flow, the process overview, how we have in this customer, how we set up, and then you can put this in our own company and think how it should work. The integration, understand the basic customize of result analysis. I'm saying here basic because this morning we have also the session related to result analysis, and he showed the basic. Actually, I will show the expert mode, that it's the other deep area for result analysis. It's where I like more, you know, because you're free to do whatever you want. And to talk about the user exits, the integration of the modules, FI, CO, SD, and the basic understanding of requirement class and requirement types that the result analysis comes automatically to the line item. So let's talk about this customer. What they do, they produce, it can be for anything. So the first thing they have is a sales order, and they have a configurable material here. So that means that you choose options to get the finished good that is going to be produced, okay? This finished good here, and one of the options, let's say you can choose if this product that you're selling, you have warranty, if you have installation cost, and you have maintenance contract, okay? Let's move to Apple. You buy an iPhone, you have the warranty, you have here Apple Care. Okay? So Apple, how they will do? They will not recognize cost and revenue for the Apple Care at the moment you buy because it's valid for 3 years. So they need to split the revenue and cost for 3 years. And what is the cost that they will post here if they don't have actual cost? So what they do, I don't know, probably this is what they do. They have a planned cost, COGS, or cost of service, for this maintenance contract. If installation, if they would have installation, then it's only the cost. So that's the main idea. From a simple sales order, I start all this process. And the advantage is, if I start the process from the sales order, and I get here at the end the result analysis and also the COPA, I can track the profitability of my sales orders. Imagine if we have 3 different businesses here. I have one business that is selling the product, another one that's the maintenance, another one that's after sales. And everything starts here. So you can track and go back to the sales order to see, is it profitable or not? It's the cost that I'm planning to be my standard cost. It's when I have my service orders, is this actual or not? Should I increase or should I decrease? So this is one idea. So sales order, let's say I create a system, configurable machine, then I have 2 items in this machine. Let's say this is a coffee machine. So I have a coffee machine and a cup warmer. Then it says, it asks, do you want to have guarantee, warranty, and also installation? And then you tick, it will create the 2 items for you in the sales order. This is automatically, okay? Based on the item category, I start the following process. That means from here, I move to the contract. And the contract at this time can be, in this case, a warranty. Another one here can be the installation, and another one the maintenance. Okay? From the installation, what we do here, we go to one step further, that is, I start my service order for the installation process. See, everything is linked. And the item category is what we drive this. So the item category, I say, what's the current processor? What's the next one? And then it starts my service order for the installation cost. So everything here, if we want to have a real profitability, what I need to know, if my installation cost, it's let's say the COGS of installation, it's matching with the technician that's going out there to do the installation, so it's really actual. The warranty cost that we do the accrual, let's say what we do, we count how many times the guy went there to fix the machine and what was the cost. Then I can establish like a warranty cost to accrue. And also the maintenance cost, the maintenance contract. So let's start with the result analysis. This is a sales order example. The customize itself, it's really one step of another. No, you create the result analysis key, then you define what you want to do with the result analysis key, the cost elements for result analysis key, valuation method, where you want to post accruals and P&L in the balance sheet, in which account you want to do, line IDs. Okay, I will explain everything. What's the benefit of the result analysis? You all know here that how enthusiastic I am with material ledger. That's the second area that I like. You can do whatever you want with this customizing. When I mean this is, it's impossible to break the system, even if you use user exit. Because the result analysis, it works based on status of the order. So the assumption is, I always post an accrual based on calculation that you give to me. As soon as I close the status, everything that you post reverse. So it moves back because now you have the actual. So even if you post the wrong values, if you change the status and rerun the result analysis, it reverses the wrong data you posted. So it's really, I would say, if you want to break, you have really to do something really bad in the debug mode, things like that. But I could not do. Okay, and I tried. So the first thing we do is to create, I mean, it's very similar to the one we had this morning, but I want really to explain the expert mode, what we do in the expert mode. So we can create one result analysis key, for example, this actual cost. So when you run production and the production order is still open crossing months, you can create the result analysis. SAP will do accrual in change of WIP or change of cost and post in a balance sheet like WIP balance sheet in stock. So you create one for this. I create one for contract, result analysis. This is maintenance. Another one for project sales, because one of the topics that I will talk here that will show is milestone billing, how we do. And another result analysis for warranty. Why we do this? Because my posting key and my posting habits are everything different from one to another. The first one, we talk only about actual cost and WIP in production order. The second one, I have a contract, so I have revenue and cost. The third one, I have revenue and cost with milestone billing. The fourth one, it's only cost. Warranty, I don't have revenue, it's only cost. So we always use the secondary cost elements. As I said, SAP needs something to mark the item that you're touching. I like to create several secondary cost elements to each line I want to touch. So imagine, one is revenue, I create one secondary cost element. Another one is cost. If you want to split like personal cost, labor, direct material, overhead, you create three that we will identify later. So you link a group of accounts with this, what we call technical cost elements, and say, this group of accounts here, when I read the cost object, this for me in the result analysis is sales. This group of account here, it's labor cost. This group of account, it's material cost. Because at the moment you turn on the result analysis, you're saying to the system, this object now it's my cost object. It can be a sales order, it can be a project, it can be internal order, and so on. So I create this in the detail I want to see in COPA. Okay, so like revenue, other sales, other operating revenue, warranty cost. So one for each line I want to see in COPA. Who is using result analysis? Okay. Is it detailed like this, or are you going like in total 3 or 4 lines? The detail you get. Okay. So you have several. Okay. And then this is where you start the customizing for result analysis. This icon here called cost elements on, if you don't use every transaction or every posting that SAP will do, it will focus and use only one cost element as reference. I prefer to turn on this, and then I have the detail for each line, the result analysis that SAP will calculate. I can tag with one account, one cost element. Why? Because when I move the group and I say, this is my secondary cost element, this is the portion that will hit my result analysis. So for each line, what I do, let's say, evaluated actual cost. So when I have actual cost, I want to use this secondary cost element. When I have this secondary cost element, when I run my result analysis, I can really take this data and move to where I want, saying this is not relevant for result analysis, this is relevant for result analysis, this is part of cost, this is part of reserves, so you can really touch where you want to move this. And if you touch where you want to move, you can control the posting scheme behind it. So that's the reason I like to use these extended cost elements, okay? It seems that it's really hard to customize, but it's not. When you start to play, let's say if it's wrong, if you customize wrong, and the moment you run the result analysis, the transaction to calculate, SAP will tell it's missing the cost, and then you go there, customizing the cost. It's missing the revenue, and then you go there, customizing the revenue. So it will not work if everything is not customized. So you customize. If it's failing, SAP will tell which line is you have to customize, because there is a check. Yeah. No, that's the problem. Yes, it's like one, and then you fix second one, and then you fix third one. Version 0 is actual. I'm talking only about version 0. As I said, the cost elements, I really like to do the extended mode. Okay, that is, if you just like to start, do with one cost element. But then you see, how can I move this to the correct place? Okay? When we have the valuation method, we have a simple mode. That means SAP will calculate for you based on predefined key. They have 16, like this. If it is cost-based, revenue plan revenue, actual revenue, things like this. I like to go to the expert mode. So I choose this one, I take expert mode, and then SAP opens this screen for me. Okay? So that means I can define for each line what I want the result analysis, what I want that the calculation do. And more important, I can turn on 2 user exits. That's what I did here, okay, to do what I did. So one, it's mainly to do the valuation for the start point of the result analysis. Another one, that's this one, it's really to manipulate the data inside. When you get all the data, to manipulate this data. Why I have to do like this? Because imagine my warranty cost. If my warranty is 24 months or 12 months, I need to split this posting in 12 months. But I don't have a start. I don't have a revenue to start in my warranty contract. I have only the contract, a material, a cost, and I want to post these 12 months. So I had to use the user X to calculate this correctly. Also for my maintenance cost, let's say my standard cost of maintenance, I did the same. For revenue, I did the same. So mainly what we did here, it's a kind of revenue recognition based on the contract period. Any questions so far? So this is the type of the result analysis, what I think it's important, okay? But if you use the user exit, at the end we will change this, okay? You can choose one, but what you do as a calculation cost, it's open for you. The valuation level, you can do it total, so SAP will not worry about the line IDs. What is the line IDs? You define for each piece, let's say for each secondary account that I'm touching, what is the line ID? So I'm saying this is labor, so this is labor. This is direct material, revenue. I prefer to do all the valuation at the line ID. As I said, I go really to the item, really to the line, and say, I want to calculate the result analysis for each piece of data I want. Okay, really that you have the control of any posting we have in the result analysis. And then we create the line IDs. That's what I said. So I create one line ID. I don't want to include cost. Another one, revenue is not included. Why I did like this? Imagine if I create a result analysis key that it's based on revenue. And then let's start with the process of the maintenance contract. The profitability that I'm tracking in this moment is the profitability of the contract. So I want the contract and the costs that are related for this contract. So let's say this contract starts a process and then my technician goes to the end user to fix the machine that is there. And then he opens an order, a service order, and then he says, this is part of my maintenance contract. And then he requests a component or labor time, things like this. This cost, I will move in the result analysis as cost. So these are considered as a cost of my contract. But at the time the technician goes there, and then he sees, look, you broke the machine, and I have to sell a new case, and also a filter. This is not part of my maintenance contract. What I do, I say this, I don't want to include the revenue and the cost of this visit of the technician as base of my calculation to not disturb my profitability of the contract. So I just took this out. How I do this, if I do the analysis by line ID and not in total anymore. And again, I use one second account to trigger this. So I know it seems that it's a lot of steps, it is, but what you can do, it's really, you can touch the data in a lower level you want. That means the posting. And you can see the profitability. So for this case that I don't want to have the cost included in the contract, it will go to COPA or it will go to my costs, and then it stays there. The other one keeps moving to the maintenance contract. Do you do something similar to this or no? And this is where, these are the only active types. So you define the source cost element, like I said, by line ID. So this is the cost that is direct material. This goes to my line ID direct material. I use one level more, that is this one, account indicator. Do you know what that means? For who is using service order, the account indicator is there. And then with the account indicator, I can also tell, this is chargeable. So I'm saying, B1 is chargeable. And then this is the result analysis for maintenance contract. So I'm saying, if the technician goes there and he uses this active type, that hours, and I'm charging, I don't want to include this in revenue. That means it's out of my contract. The contract is already billed. If it's not chargeable, then I want to tell this is cost. Okay? So the same account, I did a breakdown in the activity that the technician did. So he went there, labor time. If he had the decision to charge, then I will move to a line that's called not revenue relevant. And if it's chargeable, I put this in cost. So this is also, let's say, a good tool to do. And also, I don't know if you have seen this. This is also present in the COPA allocation structure. So you can do different settlements. You can have the same group of cost elements, and then you can have the accounting indicator, so you can move to different value fields. So this one, I will say, this is other sales. And this one, same account, this is cost, based on the account indicator. So I have one level more. And then what we have to do is to map each line ID we have where I want the secondary account, the ones that we created before. This is the start point to tell SAP. Group these, secondary cost, I still have to do the mapping of balance sheet and P&L account. And then, of course, revenue, settled cost, all the categories we have. So this is the part that I told you, if you forget to do, or if you don't do any customize on this area here, when you run the result analysis, to tell you have cost or revenue that it's not assigned, there is no line ID. And then you go here, do the customize, it works. So why we have the secondary cost element? See, this is exactly what I said. I have several secondary cost elements. And now I'm saying, when I have the second cost element, I want you to post P&L and balance sheet like this. If I have this cost element, then I have a different account. So that means, one, I'm saying, post the result analysis like recovery revenues and accounts payable. The other one, I can say, this is stock and change WIP. Another one, this is warranty cost, this is COGS warranty, COGS maintenance contract, things like this. So if I have several accounts, I can define where I want to do, where I want to move the costs. If you're doing for the first time, do simple. And then you start to learn how it works, add one account more, then 3 accounts, 4 accounts, and then you start to open the postings. So this is where we have fun, these 2 user exits, okay? So what SAP is saying is, the data is yours. You do whatever you want here. You have all information from the sales order, from if it's a contract, from the contract. You can do whatever you want. Because as it is based on the status, when you reverse the status, when you close the status, it's reverse everything. So it's really open. And this is the case I did. Okay? So one is to see the base for the calculation, what you have as a base of calculation. And the second one is really to manipulate the cost and revenue to post in the correct place. So you can touch each line ID. So that means my idea was I do the valuation in the line ID level. If I do the line ID level, the user exit, it's open that I can touch the line ID. So I'm saying here, get data from the condition, from the pricing, from the contract. See, I'm getting information from a place that's not in the result analysis. So I read the information, say, this is my planned cost, and then I move. This is my planned revenue, and then I build the result analysis here. That's my start point. The second one, what I'm doing is, this is what we will post. This is what we will reverse. That's the value I want to reverse. So mainly what I did is, imagine I have a maintenance contract of 10,000. My accrued cost, what should be my standard cost for this contract, is 3,000. At the time I do the first billing, of course, when I do the billing, I have revenues of 10,000. If I don't have anything in the result analysis, I don't have a COGS. Because only if you create a condition in the sales that posts a COGS. With this coding, what I do is, first revenue, 10,000. I look at the validity period of the contract. Okay, this is 12 months. So I divide the 10,000 by 12. I read the planned cost for this. I divide by 12. And then I reverse 11 portions of this cost. So what I have in the P&L now, it's only what is relevant for 1 month. And then the next month, I read the program again and see, did I post something? Yes, add it to 1 step more. Did I post something? And then I do until I close the contract. It's mainly revenue recognition. Yes. Because one of the parts you get here, there are two functionalities. That means you can get the start date of the contract, end date of the contract, and then you take a function and tell SAP, calculate the days. So I start with days, how many days I have. Then I take the days, I divide it, then I take the months, I divide it, have the year. So you can do whatever you want. It's open, it's a BAP, so you can reach any place. The data we have here, it's contract number, and with the contract number you can get customer data, anything you want. Contract sales, it's VBAK, it's open here, and VBAP for the line. So you can get a lot of data from there. So integration with COPA. As soon as we have the keys open, then it's just saying, this account here, go to this value field. This account here, go to this value field. This account goes to this value field. So mainly we create a settlement profile. That means when we turn on result analysis and I make this item relevant for result analysis, now I'm not setting the billing document anymore. So my contract or my sales order, it's now my cost object. So instead of when you do a billing, it will not go to COPA, it goes back to the contract, and the contract will move to COPA. So it does like this, okay? So contract now, it turns to a cost object. Or sales order item, it's a cost object. So this is what we do. So we create one receiver, and then I say, the settlement for this, the service order goes to PSG, that it's COPA. So the settlement of the contract, it's what will create my COPA data, and not the billing anymore. That means one step more in the month-end closing. You settle the production order, now you settle the contract or sales orders as well, or even WBS element. So you group the accounts. This is basic in controlling. That is the allocation structure. So you group the accounts you want, material, cost, labor, by grouping, and then you map this to the value fields you want. This is what I said. You have the account indicator here. So when the settlement is moving values to COPA, it checks if I have account indicator in the line. And then you can have a different account indicator going to different value fields in COPA. So the account indicator, it's one breakdown of the account, of the group. So you don't need to create 2, 3, 4 settlement profiles. You just have one. The account indicator, you have the same group of cost element plus the account indicator to tell where it goes in COPA. Then you can make also this to be automatically filled in the line item based on the requirement class. Okay, requirement class and requirement type. So in this case, as we have a sales order and configurable material, and my sales order was a cost object, I have also the cost invariant. But what is important is this one. You turn here the sales order contract relevant for cost object, and I assign here the result analysis key. I can assign automatically also the settlement profile. So every time I create a sales order that I have the requirement type pointed to a requirement class, and the requirement class is pointed to the item category, it puts this automatically in my line item from the sales order. So this is how we do. So what I'm doing here, it's step by step from the first screen I said, step by step, one after another, one after another, one after another. Okay, so this is my example. I made here 2 periods, so 9 and 10, okay? I'm in the future already. You can run what I did the run to prove that it was calculating this the way I wanted in the math. So I have here revenues 5,000, planned cost 1,200. So I divided this by 12, and how much should I have in my P&L and balance sheet? So if I look here close, I have revenue, so month 9, I already have 800, I'm here, okay? My first month was August. So calculation, actual revenue, 5,000, planned revenue, 25, because my contract is valid for 5 years. And so I have 5 billing every year. So 25,000, the planned cost, 1,200. So what I do, when I have revenues, I start the calculation. And every month I post the portion that belongs. So this one, I posted 833, 200. Next month, it turns to 1,000, that it's here, 300, and so on. So what I'm doing the recognition of revenue and cost at the period of the month. Remember what I said about the cost element, so you can simulate what SAP will do with the postings. So if I have a secondary cost element, mapped to one balance sheet and one P&L account, I can drive where I want to post. So one of these is balance sheet, another one is COGS, what I call COGS, accrued. The second one, again, same balance sheet and a different, this is revenue. So one is the reversal of the revenue or the post of the revenue, another one is the post of the cost. So every month SAP will post here. And then this is the mapping. This account here goes in these two. This account here goes in these two, and so on. What I do, I move to COPA. When I reach COPA, now I have sales and COGS variance. I did only one value field. So I have also this in COPA, this document. So my COPA is also updated with the postings I did. So I have this in COPA. Any questions related to this? Too complicated? It seems to be, but it's not. When you start, and it starts to work, it's really amazing what you can do with the tools. We have another situation that is the same company, but in another country. They have milestone billing, that it's a project, kind of project. So they start a project, the customer goes there and say, I want this medical device for my hospital. So they need to go there, do the measures, and then they start the production. And they say, okay, but I want part of the payment in 30 days, part of the payment in 60 days, and the rest of the payment when you deliver the product. So I can do this with result analysis, revenue-based. But they didn't want to have the result analysis because they are shorting people. They thought that it would be more analysis process if the result analysis was correct and things like this. So they said, no, we want to do different, but we want also to recognize when I have the first payment, I want to have this in sales, and I want to have also the COGS that was calculated for the product, partial COGS as well. Okay, so I used to say user exits are there to be used. Okay, so don't be afraid of user exits. So mainly this is what they have. It's a milestone billing, okay? So 10% the first billing, 50% in the second, and 40% the third billing. So if I just do this, and I don't do result analysis, and I don't do any calculation, what will happen? I have revenue, no COGS. Let's say I do the deliver at this moment here. What I have? COGS with 50% of the cost. And the last part, I have revenue without COGS again. So what we came in mind was, okay, let's create a result analysis based on revenue. So I have here the proportion, 10, 50, and 40. So every time I do a billing, what I do, I create a condition in the sales, in the billing document, that I take my COGS, that's my VPRS, and then I divide this by the percent. So I identify what's the COGS related for the percentage. And then I post this in accrual account in the balance sheet. So I do balance sheet, P&L. And then the P&L, this also, I correct my COPA. The next billing, if the billing, now it's let's say, together with the goods issue. So when I do goods issue, the movement 601, what we'll do in nature? Stock, P&L. But what I do, stock, accrued account. So now I have my full COGS still in the balance sheet, and every time I do an invoice, I'm crediting the same account to clear this account out. So it's still like accrued COGS until I have the final billing. And what it's moving the COGS, what is creating the COGS in finance, it's really the billing document. So this is what I do. I create a second condition, calculated one. I read the data from the billing plan. I identify which percentage I'm doing now. And I take VPRS, that's my COGS, and then I apply the percentage I want to calculate. So what I do here, I have sales, 10% of my sales. I call this account here, delivered, not invoiced. And then I credit this account, and I do a debit in the COGS finished good. Just the portion, just the part that I have for my billing plan. And every billing I do, I read the portion, I post in this account. At the end, I have 0 in this account when it's finished, and full COGS and full revenue in the P&L and COPA. Of course, I use the 2 user exits. One to create this calculation. So it's a price condition with a user exit assigned behind. And the second user exit is to fix the value in COPA, because COPA goes the first as the billing document, and then it posts the full COGS in the value field. So what I do in COPA, I also fix. So this is my first user exit to calculate the partial COGS finance. And this is that's the finance part. I have another second user exit that I use to calculate the COPA. So I apply the same percentage, and I do the breakdown of the COGS in COPA. So what I did, a result analysis manual, without doing the settlement, calculation, result analysis, because this is simple. They have only the milestone billing. There's not a project that they need to send guys there, things like this. It's only revenue. When they finish the production and they deliver the product, they have the final billing. So we did like this. They went live now in September, so it works well. And this is my account, what I said, the delivered not invoiced account. So when I finish the billing, the account is 0. And then I do the assignment based on the order plus item, and I make this account that I can clear the account. So line item management open. So go there, clear, you don't see this document anymore. And then you can clear using F.13. So you have here only the open invoice. It's also a tracking of missing invoice, missing deliveries. Because you just look to this account, you know what it's happened. If you have a balance, positive, credit or debit, you know that it's missing invoice, it's missing deliveries. Is it clear? Yeah. This process here, can you see another usage for this process? What's the main issue you have in COPA today? Cost-based. Reconcile to GL. And which account you have problems to reconcile? COGS. Why? Because most of the companies, they have COGS in 1 month, invoice in the 2nd month. COPA finance recognize COGS and the goods movement. COPA recognize cost at the time of the invoice. So let's say you move this process to all the levers you have. So you deliver, you don't post anymore the 601 to COGS. You post to this account. And at the time of invoice, you clear this account and you move to COGS and COPA. So what you did, you just moved billing and COGS to the same period now, when the time of the invoice and when the invoice happens. So this will help you for billing, returns. Return is also a problem, isn't it? You put the goods in stock, and then you don't do the credit debit memo at the time, so you have this. Again, it's a tracking for the operation, because the account, if you have a high balance in the account, that means you're not invoicing at the same moment. So it's also useful to do this way. It's very simple. What you do, change the account assignment for the movement type 601 when you sell, create this condition in the billing document, map two accounts, the same account. There we go. Do you see a benefit of using this? Mm-hmm. Yes. Ah, you did like this in SAP already? Yeah. Yeah, but if you look, all the other companies, they are not doing like this. It's not a lot of companies that they move this to a temporary or to accrue cost, and then we move from there to. Yes, until we have the actual bill. Which issue you have here for material ledger? Yes. The same issue. Yes. Because when you do evaluation of consumption, material ledger will post the actual cost of a good sold. And then it tracks the first account, that is the good movement account. And the good movement account is this one. But the invoice, the condition you have the invoice, not the actual, it's the standard. So you have a big credit here, and the debt is different. So when we have material ledger, we can face this problem. And then you go there and then you reclassify. So the main goal is to explain that result analysis, like material ledger, it's an open box. You can do a lot of things with result analysis. Don't think that it's closed. Like, I like to use the expert mode, really, because it's really open, and then you can touch in each line and what you want. To show two different ways, one using result analysis, another one using just ABAP coding to do the same milestone billing. And what we can do with COGS, okay? So I put here some research. That means this blog here found in the internet, they explain very well how result analysis works. And they're doing a good job. And mainly Google. You know, Google will tell everything. So 5 key ideas. You can use result analysis for everything. I mean, even if any kind of billing that you have a time difference for the billing, you can apply result analysis. The customize, at the first moment you open, I know it scares. You look there and then you say, oh, I will not touch this because this will break. It scares, but when we start to see, there is a logic. You go one by one. It's really one by one. This one, the second one, it's not like some customized that you go here in the bottom, then you have to go in the top, and then keep doing this. This is really one by one. The user exits, I'm telling you, these two powerful user exits. You can do whatever you want in the result analysis. If you want more information about the coding, how I did, just tell me, and then I can give you more tips. The integration of models, that it's SD, FI, COPA, it's everything linked. And you can also achieve, like, let's say, monthly split or revenue recognition without use result analysis, just being creative. That's it. Thank you. Did you like it?